What does the goddess mean to you? And what does the awakening mean to you?
Mm-hmm. I've been just in the last many years, actually, that's been a ever evolving opening of the onion. And in the last few years, that's been coming to a very special culmination. I've been, like, over the years, I've been working with all kinds of different. I started doing meditation with maybe 17. I started doing tantra workshops and doing the exercise of energetic connection with the divine, which sometimes would happen. I know what I mean. With 19, and then there was a lot of time of going to different gurus and kind of looking the outer manifestation of it. And there were the times in my 20s when there was a lot about psychedelic exploration, which later kind of went much more into working with ayahuasca, which has been one of my deepest teachers. And that was also connected to the system that I developed about navigating outer states. And it's becoming much more like a personal relationship with that extremely intelligent, extremely loving, and caring consciousness. It's hard to give it a gender. So in the last years, I've been able to establish almost like a personal connection of writing back and forth. It started in a very interesting way through a very deep heartbreak when I lost the connection to God almost through that person I was so in love with, who had, like, something had happened that went to a really deep heartbreak where I felt like, anyway, I felt a disconnection from that thing that was like my portal to the divine. And in that pain and in that deep heartbreak, it's when actually things opened up in a way. And then the divine started speaking to me in a way through everybody, through the different people and whatever they will say to me, however they would approach. In a way, it's kind of the outer focus, and that came, like, got opened up. It suddenly came from all directions to the next thing my eyes would fall on when I'm driving to the billboard and what it would say. It felt like suddenly almost as if God was talking to me. And so through everything and everybody. So it has changed. I see it less about gender now, though in my own personal dialogues with it, it likes to be called source, because it says the term God is too loaded. And as that, it's an aspect of us. It's been kind of, I've been having these dialogues with source, which has been going on for now hundreds and hundreds of pages and poems and explanations, which has been going from the personal to the transpersonal, to it explaining how what we are and what the soul is, and how we co-created those games called the Hall of Mirrors of the different Mayas, or the different dimensions, and how we're operating them, but how it's all a co-creation. And repairing a lot of that schism between that, especially different religions have established, probably starting with good intentions and then turning into whatever religion can turn into over time, especially organized religion. But the kind of thing about needing the middleman, not being okay to have a direct connection with the divine, or with source, or with spirit, or whatever we call it. So it's been meaning this consciousness that apparently we can have direct connection to, and we are direct manifestations of. In a lot of my conversations with it, it keeps making fun of me, like as if you could be separate from me. Seriously, kind of. I mean, good joke. Yes, you kind of engineered all these different VR games for you to come in and forget parts of our connection, forget parts of who you are, so you can play the games and you can be my agent of source, so to say. In those things, he's explaining we are all its angels in a way. So divine beings that dare to come into form to play the games of Maya, and through their interactions and their experiences, improve on perfection. Because it's not about improvement in that sense. It's not even about, it's something about maturation. And it's explaining me the many different traps like having to become better to be good enough, or having to heal yourself to be whole. You know what I mean? And so I've been also rewriting a lot of these concepts of what healing is, since as a psychotherapist, originally it's a lot about healing people, but then you have to go away from the concept of there is something broken in need of fixing. Like so many of us can run around with that thing of I'm broken, I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable. And once you go deep in there, it's just a bunch of misunderstandings that happen during moments of trauma, possibly when the self accepted a limiting belief about itself and in the world, and then build a whole identity on top of it. But once it gets opened up, it's a bunch of misunderstandings. You know what I mean? And often we develop so many more extra Jedi skills in the process of learning how to fly with only one wing. You know what I mean? Sometimes, I mean, not great metaphor, but in the dealing with the limitation is how we often develop even extra abilities, and how to also the deep down the really abilities we're here to learn mostly about how to, it's a lot about love apparently. Like when I was asking sorts of when it was this explaining the different games and incarnation and romance and all these kind of games within games that we have engineered for ourselves, for our soul's maturation, but also for getting experience. And the experience is something that our soul gets, but also source gets, the God gets, since in a way that is the game of the one self or the one being playing many, because we are all together, we build God or source. You know what I mean? It's all through all of us, as all of us, and down to the plastic cups. You know what I mean? So it's, but also sentient beings have a particular way of holding it. And also what Gaias are, what is a Gaia? In a way, it kind of what is that thing that gets developed when a planet develops enough beings that have, the way it's said, it's like enough that develop enough consciousness to be aware of who they are and aware of themselves, and also enough empathy to treat each other in as the outer manifestation of like we are outer self, inner self. It's kind of God speaking through its different channels to itself.